Guys, Bob Canada. I'm going to take the last time here to do the last section of the getting, or part two of the getting started guide for Zinzino, and that's building the business. Okay. And what I'm going to go over, for the most part, is pretty standard with any company that in my career that I've tried to build. It's just a system and a very simple consistency to getting people to look at the business. And that's all this is about. Duplication is the right people are out there. We just have to get in front of them. So how do we find them? We got to get some numbers working for us. So the first thing is, when you launch a business, we got to go a little more giddy up. We got to maybe talk to as many people as it takes. If in the first 30 days, your job is to get 10 people to view the presentation. And that means whether it's on a recorded Zoom like I have on this site, or a live Zoom, that people can plug into, and we'll talk about that. Um, or of course, you could do it yourself with them. Or if you don't want to do a Zoom, the old days we used to, have hotel meetings or go to people's houses. Now with everyone's crazy schedule, we tend to do a lot of Zooms, but it doesn't take the personal factor away if you want to do that. So we're going to go over what you say to people, how you build it, but two Zooms that you could either say, these are my Zooms, whether it's a company one where I'm going to take responsibility to get 5 people on each one, let's say, but your goal is to get 10 people on a Zoom. You with me? And if it takes more than two, if it takes three, four, five, try to do it within 30 days. If you got to go a little longer, it goes a little longer. But your launch is when 10 people see the plan. Okay. From there, we believe you should have a couple of reps, okay, and some customers, or whatever the combination is. You'll be off and running. So the next part to this is the process for recruiting reps and customers. It's the ongoing. What does that mean? It means what you do after your first 30 days, on month two, or year two, or year 20. If you're still building, you need to do the same thing consistently. And I call it the 90-90-30-10-3. So I know it sounds like a lot, but it's really just makes sense if you break it down. What's the first 90? This is simple, add 3 people a day to your prospect list. Those could be people that come to mind, people on your phone. No, this is after we do that 30-day push. It's like, how do we keep the inventory? How do we keep this thing building? We got to add 3 people. People you meet, you never run out of people. Facebook posts, see who responds. One of my guys taught me, instead of just saying, hey, I got something you might want to lose weight on or something, just start collecting people that showed an interest in any post. You could put up something funny, something about music, doesn't matter. I use Facebook a lot. Repost someone else's post that comes across your feed, right? So this is funny, or whatever it is, serious, sad, whatever it is, it's going to get comments. Anybody who comments, right, to you, right, they say, oh, this is funny, what did you get this, whatever it is, you can then add them to your list. I'm going to teach you at the end. Everything goes on paper, okay, or in your computer, however you want to call it. Nothing stays just up here, because you're going to forget, and you can't track where you're at. You can't stay organized, okay? So 3 people a day, whether you meet them at the gas station and get their name, or you do a pitch. In other words, the goal is to do a pitch to 3 people a day also. That's the second. So if I meet someone at the gas station, I may not be able to interact with them too long, and, oh, what do you think of that Facebook post? I'm just going to blurt out the pitch, okay, about the business or the products. That counts, okay, 1 3. So the first thing is, try to keep adding to your names list by just interacting with 3 people. You don't have to bring up the business. Just get their names. What's the second part? That's one. Okay. What's the next thing? Approaching 3 people a day. That's the second 90. That's when you actually you cultivate some of the people. So you have this list of Everyone you just meet, just like I told you, yeah, you meet on social media. You didn't bring up the business to them yet, but everyone you can bring the business up, right? Business or products, right? Healthy, staying healthy. So everybody that you talk to, you don't go, well, I could never approach that person. Everyone that you approach goes on your prospect list. Now we got to take action. 3 people a day, you absolutely pitch. It can be one new person you meet or someone from that list that when the time feels right for the people on your list, or just you bring it up to someone you just met. Doesn't matter. Okay. At the time of meeting or the later date. Now you got to get comfortable with your approach. So this is just 2 pitches. Guys, you can develop your own. You can listen to what the leaders, let's not complicate it. Business, would you be interested? Okay, health wise, okay, this would be more towards the product. Would you be interested in looking at some information on some life changing health products? Or are you, hey, Jim, are you health conscious? That's someone you were just rapping on about Facebook, about some posts. By the way, what do you do for work is a great opening. But then when you actually want to make the pitch, are you by the way, you keep yourself, health conscious. If you want to go to the business, remember, this is after you most of the time, them, you open up, you get a little warm and fuzzy going. Hey, let me ask you, do you keep your options open when it comes to looking at other ways to make money? That's like the simplest thing in the world. Okay. Anyone can learn that. It's not like, oh my God, I'm not going to stutter and stammer. No, you look at other ways to make money. How simple is that? Someone who's got a little giddy up in him, as I like to say, is going to say, well, yeah, always depends what it is. I'm wrong with that. Oh, yeah, I want to do your business. No, that's crazy. They're going to say, yeah, depends what it is. All right, great. Let's set up a call. Now, if you have time, okay, well, let's get to the first thing. Let's get to so now you make 3 pitches a day to actual people bringing up the product of the business. One of those 3, which is 1 a day, which is 30 a month, are going to agree. That's the key word. They might not ever show up again. You might lose them somewhere, but they're going to say, yeah, let's set up a call, or let's meet for coffee, or whatever it may be. Send me some info on the product. You're now in what we call prospecting mode. Okay, you're actually you've approached them, and now you're in the evaluation. You're starting the evaluation concept with them. Okay, where they're looking at something. Now, I like, if I have time with them right there, right? If I bring it up and I say, would you keep it? Yeah, what? And we're having coffee, I can start doing the first step, right? Which is here. If I met them on the gas station, or someone through Facebook, I'll say, when can we set up a 5-minute call? Okay, if I'm texting them or Facebooking them, obviously I got them on the phone. I can speak to them for 5 minutes right there. Okay. Now, if you're not comfortable, get your enroller or a senior partner on. But the key to this is really what you're seeing if they're interested in the business or the product. Okay. And here's how you kind of gauge this little 5 to 10 minute conversation. Let them talk about themselves. Ask questions. Guys, when people talk about themselves, they love you. Okay. They're like, oh, my, this guy really cares about me. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying, but you got to know how to, you can't just go into your deal. Oh, let me tell you about, like, oh, I didn't get to say anything about me, So let them talk about themselves. Doesn't have to go on for 20 minutes. A little about their kids, their family, what they do. Tell me about your work. What do you do? They're going to start telling you. And then the whole purpose is just to book an overview. So you simply say, wow, that's great, Jimmy. I think you're going to love this business. You could tell them a little bit about it. We work with people that want to build a residual income, and I can show you everything on a 30, 35-minute Zoom, whatever it may be. Okay. Don't start going down the rabbit hole. It's giving them tell them, well, what kind of product is what? I mean, sometimes that happens, but avoid as much as you can till you can give them the whole story, if you will. Okay. So, or when you do that initial talk, if you can't, if you feel comfortable enough that you're covering some of this little 5 to 10 minutes socializing with them, and you don't have to do that, you could book them right into an overview, live or recorded Zoom. Okay, you're with me on that, guys? So now you've opened your mouth, and what's going to happen? these are what you could do with them. 10 people out of the 30 will the show interest will actually look at the Zoom. So you're pitching one a day. I mean, you're pitching 3 a day about the business. 1 a day is going to say, yeah, let's talk, let's do this and that. You're going to get them to the point where 10 of those 30 people. Now, this is going to overlap into the next month, and the next month's not going to be a clean sweep. At the end of July, you got all your decisions made by the people, but you cultivate. By the end of the month, you've done your work here. Some of this will go into the next month. But on that sheet of paper for July with those names, okay, they'll all be closed out. That July isn't closed out, I should say, until you've gone through the decision process. So 10 of those people will actually get on a webinar. That's your goal. 10 people a month, really, right? Because this is the month's work, even if it overlaps into other months. This is really my month's cultivation, the month of July. These are the people. Even if it takes them till September to see the plan for whatever reason, they're out of town. But I'm still working on July's list. Are you with me? And now, of course, August, you go into another approach 3 a day. You don't stop and wait for July to finish. But the point is, you're now working that July list, okay? 10 of those people will actually see the plan, right? How do we show the plan? Team Zooms. You can have a schedule to tie in usually once you know your team. Sometimes your enroller or the person that you're working with, other than the company, might do actual, Zooms twice a week or whatever it may be. So there's the recorded Zooms or the live Zooms. And then you always have the option of the recorded presentation on income generators, or your Zinzino team might have some recorded. Recorded's okay. If you can't get them, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock to jump on live, the only problem with recorded is you're not there to monitor their distractions. Kids come home, are they half watching it? Are they looking at the TV at the same time? So, oh yeah, I wasn't really interested. Well, did they really sit there and focus for 30 minutes? So recorded could work, but it's better to get them on a live Zoom, okay? And I always tell them, try to put your camera on. That way I can see you. I can see if you're distracted or if you're actually watching the presentation, okay? And then we simply follow up until the decisions. What does that mean? You might have to see them again, show it again, go over a chart, talk. Maybe they want to get on product for a while before they make a decision about the business. You might use your enroller to do a 3-way call. Here's the point. Each month should net 3 people out of the 10 that see the plan. 3 of those people eventually are going to say yes to the customer and or the business. Does that make sense? So let's break it down. 90, 90, 30, 10, 3. Get 3 new names a day that eventually you're going to pitch. Could be these people, could be the people that are already on the list, but you will pitch 3 people a day about Zinzino, product, business. From the 3 people, as long as, by the way, if you're not hitting these numbers, you can measure to monitor, control it. What am I doing wrong? What's my, the people showing the plan. But the point is, if you say something halfway decent, hey, you keep your options open, blah, 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 you should be able to get 30 people that say, yeah, I want to know more. Guys, so many people are struggling financially. They're interested in longevity and being healthier for them or someone in their family. It's not rocket science to get 1 out of 3 people that show an interest in what you're talking about. From there, you do enough little conversation, a little stroking, but your job is to get at least 10 of them to see the presentation in its entirety, which is nothing more than a 30 to 40-minute Zoom. From there, with proper follow-up, it's almost impossible not to get 3 out of 10 that want to join you in the business, either as a customer or a rep. Does that make sense? Not rocket science, but here's the key. Consistency. Okay? If you don't talk to 3 people a day and you talk to 1 person a day, well, if it's 1 out of 3, then you're only going to get 10 people interested in a month. And if you only get 10, you'll only show the plan to 2 of them. And you might go 3 months before you recruit. You follow me? So if you want these numbers to work, It's simply let the numbers work for you. Okay, it's no, you get better what you do, better you say. But if you work with these, and I don't think this is too much, guys. I know there's some methodologies. Hey, talk to everyone you know. Well, that's not going to happen. Or talk to 25 people a day. I'm not against that, but it's like a diet. If your diet's too stringent, you break it, and then you're eating bonbons for the next month. I get the hiccups. So the point is, let's build something let's put something out there to your team and yourself that we can do. Cultivate 3 new people, talk to 3 new people. That'll automatically lead to 1 out of 3. Show that'll probably automatic. So if you do this, the big thing you got to control is pitching 3 people a day. From that, you'll get the 1 a day interested. You'll show the plan to 10, and you'll get your 3 people. Okay, but if you don't start with talking to 93 a day, it's going to fall short most likely. Okay. And a couple of just things I want to talk about. I already mentioned this. Put everything on paper. I'm going to show you an example in a second. And then you always book step by step. You don't, oh, yeah, I'll call you next week. No, Tuesday, 3 o'clock, that's a book. All right. So let's take a look at, this is what I mean by say, put 3 people down. These you haven't even talked to yet. But Monday, let's just say it's the first of the month, or it could be a Tuesday if it falls on the 1st, July 1st, doesn't matter what day it is. These are the 3 people, whether you message them on Facebook or whatever, or they replied back, hey, this guy liked what he heard, this one, name, phone number, if you can get them down, okay? You look at daily until they're interested. Now, sometimes you don't have the phone number, you just know where to find them on Facebook, okay, on Messenger. Now, this is your 3 a day. This is that whole activity list. Day 1 of July 1st, I'm going to approach 3 people for the day. And you might get 2 interested, you might get none. It averages out. But I'm just giving you an example. There's your no, but Mary Jones said, yeah, I'd like to sit down with you, or let's get on a 3-way call, or send me some information on product, put her name down. What was the next step? In this case, I just wrote down, she agreed to get on a Zoom call. Okay. So that's where we're at. We're trying to get her to the next. There might be a few different steps in here, but the goal is from cultivating to try to get the 10 people out of the 30 actually see the plan. So if you had a list of 30, you'd have a yes and then another yes. Eventually, you'd have 10 yeses on your sheet. And out of those 10 yeses, when you follow through the follow-up, you should have 3 enrolled as customers and or reps. Does that make sense? But if you don't track it, guys, 2 things happen. It's easy to think you're doing the business and you're really slouching and you're talking to 1 a day, 1 every 2 days. This keeps you on track, but also it gives you a visual of where did I leave off. So you don't go, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to call Mary last week. Well, I forgot. I got busy. Well, because you didn't, you got to look at this every day and go, where did I leave off with everyone? Oh, that one's the second look on Tuesday. This one's getting to wants to get on the product. I shipped her out. That's right. I shipped her out, or I emailed her some info on the product. I got to follow up with her today and find out what she thought about it. You follow me? Organization, especially if you're working 1 person a month, you don't need it. You're working with 3 people a day, potentially, or 30 people a month. You need some organization and some tracking, okay? I am coming in for a landing, duplication. How do you build a team of 20,000, 10,000, 1,000 people? Well, I just showed you what you do. What's your job? If you do it, you duplicate this with your team. Anyone you bring in, some of the people that they bring in that you get to know, make sure they're following the same process, okay? Did they download the guide that you're watching and the videos that we're talking about? Then try to get on as many team Zooms or live Zooms. I'm just one guy, brand new to the business, giving you my spin on how to do the business. There's tons of other gifted people in Zinzino, people that are making money, crazy money. Listen to their philosophy. We're all pretty much on the same page. We might tweak it a little bit. And then the last thing is, guys, once I start building my team, I'm going to keep in weekly contact. Once I know I got a leader, until they drop out, even if they become super leaders, that even more, I'm going to talk to them every day. What do you do with your team? Are you doing? So you got to get them. And if it is just a personally enrolled, they're people. So if my buddy, who's pretty good, but he's so-so, brings in what I think is an ace because she's showing up at things, she's bringing in people, got customers. What am I going to leave it up to my buddy who's half engaged to be her mentor? No, I'm going to take control of the reins. So duplication is working with your team in a way that they're following the process, and you've got some hands-on weekly contact with them once a week, a couple times a week, whatever it takes. And lastly, guys, this isn't complicated, but I used to have a saying on my desk when I started this industry back in '92, and it used to say, do today what others won't, so you can do tomorrow what others can't. And that was so true to me. When I started in '92, I had a full-time 40-hour-a-week job at Thomas's English Muffins. I was in middle management. I had 9 real estate buildings with my partner, over 100 tenants. I had to collect rents, do things, whatever you do when you're own real estate. And then I started with the company that I had 26-year run with, made over $4 million, 6 figures a year. And what happened was I had to give up a little softball, give up some things, just some compromises to fit it all in. Okay. Well, I was building my network business and doing all those other things, real estate, everything else. So people would say, Bob, what do you do? You're busy enough. You got property for the. So I did it though. And I'm not pat myself on the back. Well, maybe I am. Okay. But I did what a lot of people wouldn't do. And then 2 years later, 3 years later, when I quit work, sold some of the real estate because, I was full blown into the company I was with. I got to live 26 years of 6 figures, speaking across the country. Didn't matter if I got out of bed or didn't get out of bed because I had thousands of people on my team building their business at the same company. That's the residual income. So live by this. When it feels like, oh my God, people are saying no to me or whatever it is, or I'm busy, do today what others won't so you can do tomorrow what others can't. Now let's go rock and roll. Did I do anything else? Oh yeah, I just did a little checklist. I just covered a lot of stuff. So when you print this out, just think, I took enrollment. Did you order did you get a kit? Are you on auto ship? Did you set up your customers? Remember, you set up your family for free product, okay? Did you send in, oops, what I lost my, what am I doing here, guys? Sorry. I know I'm still in the Zoom. Okay, so let's just finish this off. Did you send in your balance test and start on your oil? Did you set up your binary placement, where people go? Did you write your goal statement? We talked about that in session 1. Did you go through the educational process in your back office? Did you set up your marketing string? I'm going to send people this video, that video. Did you strive to hit those goals we talked about in video 1, whether it's Q team, X team, A team? Okay, get that 1,200 euros in 120 days. Those are the initial. This is your checklist now, right? Now, we just covered this in this training. Did you do your first 10 exposures in your 30 days? And are you continuing to do what we just talked about, 90-90-30, 10-3 system? And are you working with the people on your team? Don't just bring them in and forget about them. That should cover it, guys. Hope it gives you a nice outline. Let's rock and roll.